Hi, everyone. I'm Carrie. I'm a senior product designer for ClearCo, which is a scale-up and fintech that helps founders and specifically entrepreneurs get more capital just to accelerate their businesses. So it's a really cool vision. But for me, I actually started my whole career in computer science and actually development. Really enjoyed that in different scales, but wanted to be more of answering the question of why am I getting these designs? What am I doing here as a developer? So I got myself into UX design space, worked in financial service companies like H&R Block and ATE Financial. That was really interesting, but I wanted to work on things from the ground up. So that led me to IBM as a design consultant. And that was really awesome. Worked a bit on UX strategy and experience design and service design, which is a lot of great and fun work in the design space. But I really miss product. I really miss working with a team. So that led me to do a bit of a 180 and go to startups. So I had a bit of experience in Montreal. I'm currently based in Calgary, but spent a year in Montreal during the pandemic, really learned a bit about new cultures and how to experience working in a different work environment. And then landed my spot in ClearCo. So really enjoying that so far. And yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carrie. We are glad to have you here and also have you back from Montreal. So this is really good, at least to be able to have a coffee with you. That's amazing. Well, I will go to Montreal just to have a coffee with you. Michelle, would you like to tell us more about you?
Yes, sure. So I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invite. I'm Michelle. Actually, now I'm the UX manager at Humi. So I moved to Canada 2 years ago to restart the career, I would say. But if I go back, I've been working to the UX, UI, web design field 20 years ago that I can recall. So lots of things, lots of change, lots of transitions during my career, but I get a chance to work for Sony Ericsson, and then Sony, and then LG, and moving to big companies. And my last experience in big companies was into the healthcare scenario, where I'm really passionate for. And here in Canada, I'm dealing more into the startup environment, learning a lot how big companies and startups works pretty different, and you have always to balance different priorities and optimizing always for different things, I would say. So yeah, I would say that my name is Michelle and my surname would be Learning, and that's more or less what drove me to the mentorship and being a mentor as a role, I would say. Thank you for having me here.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here. And it's a really fantastic introduction. Thank you, Michelle. Juliette, please, would you mind to introduce yourself?
Luis, we should be doing this in Spanish and everybody should start learning Spanish from now on. So my name is Juliet, and if you see an H, it's a silent H. Again, I'm from Colombia. I'm an immigrant living in Canada, Vancouver for the last 14 years. I switched careers in my late 40s. So it's something that I'm really proud and I really talk about because I know how hard it is to switch careers. And again, say it in your 40s. I'm super proud. Queer women. Fun fact about me, I'm in vacations at this moment. So live in Vancouver, but I'm in Windsor. And in the last 5 days, I have walked around 100 kilometers. I was in New York, Montreal, and Ottawa. So Michelle, I didn't know that you were there. So I just came from Ottawa. So anyway, I got the chance to meet Luis. I don't know what it was. We've been trying to meet for so long, but finally we did it. And thank you so much for having me here. This is something that I'm super passionate about. I live by empowering, passionate, and authenticity. And that's what I do, mentorship. So super excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juliet. And I'm trying to make the calculation of how much it will take you to walk from Windsor to Calgary. I will send some notes after the end of the talk, but it will be really I don't know. I mean, once you start, let's say how far we can make it. But thank you so much, and also thank you for taking some time of your vacation to join us. And if you don't mind, just keeping the spotlight on you, it would be really fantastic to know how did you start your mentorship journey? What really invited you to get into this sort of role, and how it has been for you so far?
I've been working, or before going to UX, I worked in retail management for the last 10 years. And every time that I would go for a job interview, people ask me, what do you like the most about your job? And it's like people. I think people was always my passion. And it's like, I love empowering people, make them feel excited to come to work. Retail is not an easy job. And we get a lot of immigrants working in retail jobs are their first job. So for me, coming as an immigrant, having a first job in retail for me was like, how can I empower people to feel like this job can take them to the next level? So when I was looking to find my next career dream job, I ended up coming into UX, and I realized that this is a place when I can use everything that I've been working on the last 15, 20 years of my life. And then how do I use what I used to have before, that it was empowering people from having their first job to do it now? So mentorship is just came out of the heavens and, oh, this is what you should be doing. And honestly, Luis, it wasn't an easy decision because I'm new into the field. I haven't done this for so long. But again, I really emphasize I'm an immigrant, I'm queer, switcher careers, and I'm in late 40s. And a lot of people come to me because of that. So I said, my story is unique, and every person that comes to me, their story is so personal and unique. So why not to empower each other with what we have lived in the past? Mm-hmm.
Wow, thank you so much. You're certainly a mentor from heaven. That's really fantastic. And yeah, it's thanks a lot. And yeah, thanks a lot. Okay, Michelle, same question. How it has been for you, and where did it start?
Yeah, I think the first time that I thought about mentorship was during the pandemic. So I moved to Canada like really 1 week before everything got closed. So yeah, Canada, new country, closed. Nobody, you're gonna know no one. So for me, it was a way to connect to the community, get to know other people, share a bit about me, understand the Canadian market, and more or less how UX is seen over here. Be able to compare. Like I had a chance to work like in Korea as well, so each place is completely different from others. So it was for me like, okay, I can be your mentor about UX. Can you be my mentor about Canada and how the things play around here? So, and I may say that mentorship more or less saved my my mental health for the last 2 years, because it was really for me the way that I felt welcomed by the community. I got to know new people, as Judith mentioned, like everyone is unique. So I had a chance to meet fantastic people that all of them brought to this mentorship more and more light. And now I decided that, okay, it's part of me. I never will come back to be only a UX person. Now being a mentor is part of me.
Amazing. And yeah, well, I guess you already point out the benefit of mentorships, right? It's just a way to also learn. And that's really fantastic. And also thank you for doing this during one of the toughest times in history. So yeah, let's say quite a lot of us just play video games. So thank you for taking that route. Well, Carrie, yeah, okay. Where did that start? How is it going? Where is it going on your mentorship path?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I love hearing everyone's stories. I think it really resonates with me having the relationships with people. I think when I was young, like the reason I got into tech was actually kind of due to mentorship, at least outreach. So in grade 9, I attended an Explore IT event, and it kind of showcased human computer interaction research, which really exposed me to, oh my goodness, what is this computer science concept? That is so cool. And then I attended some computer science classes in my high school, which was one of the few in the city. And I just loved it. Everyone that I knew around me wanted to be a doctor or in finance. And I was one of the few, especially as a woman, who wanted to be in tech. So it was a bit lonesome. But at the time, I felt like it was totally okay. I was like, oh, cool, I'm the only girl. That's really cool. But then as I got more into the community, attended Chic Geek, which is another women in tech community in Calgary, I realized actually this is a problem. Like, why don't we have more women? Why am I competing against them when we should be rallying together? So I was really fortunate to be invited to Grace Hopper celebration and other women in tech events, and really realized, oh my goodness, like there's a lot of problems here. Maybe I was pretty oblivious growing up about all these issues, but as I advance through my career and go through pivots or just shifts in industries and my own career, I've noticed there's a lot of different personalities that you need to figure out and interact with, which is part of the whole game. And sadly, this is a game we have to figure out how to play. So having a community, having amazing mentors around you and around myself has really helped support me in my journey. And throughout that journey, I've always wanted to give back in different ways and different capacities. And whether that's formal mentorship, a chat with a friend, someone maybe to review a little bit of some information, or just to give some advice. Like I had some solid mentors in my computer science degree of like, oh, you want to pursue this? You actually don't necessarily need to take this course. I was like, cool, that's awesome. So just tidbits there has really helped succeed in my career. And I really wanted to make sure other people are set up for success, because it can be a pretty lonely world out there.
That's true. Well, setting people for success, that's fantastic. And also, thank you for getting into the game and also finding a way to change the game. That makes it way more fun for everybody. Thanks a lot. And I'm thinking about, kind of like how to start and how to see things from the opposite side, from the side of the mentee. What would you recommend would be the best time to get a mentor? Carrie, would you like to share some ideas?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it depends where you feel like you need help. I don't think it's any bad point in your life or career or time in your UX journey to not ask for help, whether that's someone you know, or just reaching out randomly on LinkedIn, or going to these events, networking with other people, attending meetups, all these amazing spaces. There's different forms of mentorship, whether you think it's formal or not. ADP List is a great platform, which is helping connect those formal mentorship connections. But at Calgary UX especially, it was one that really helped me get into the UX space in general. So to answer your question, really anytime.
Anytime is good. Excellent. Well, thanks a lot. And yeah, well, Michelle, I hope the best time to get a mentee is not during the pandemic, but from your own perspective, what would be the best time to actually become a mentee? At least reach out to you.
Yeah, I agree that there's no wrong time. So it will depend on the expectation. So if you want to have more technical discussions during your mentorship, so probably you need to be more into that. But if you have questions about the field and you are not sure exactly, oh my gosh, should I go for UX, UI, and all the possibilities inside the umbrella? So I think like right now is the time. Go for it. Don't wait anymore. Don't struggle alone. There's a community for you, or for all of us.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. And yeah, right now, anytime. Juliet, I guess
Yeah.
at least it's giving us some time.
I don't know what else to say, but I will say that yeah, the same anytime. But you know what is surprising for me with a lot of people that I talk, that I feel like they come to me talking, let's talk about UX, but honestly, they want to talk a little more about their life, how they feel. I feel like I don't know, with a lot of people that we don't talk about a lot of UX. We talk about professional, how they're feeling, their mental toughness. I don't know, I feel like how I can possibly positively impact this moment of life. I think people just want to feel positive about what they're doing in this time, and they just want to feel validated in their decision, and just want to find someone that say, yes, you got it, you can do it. So we all feel like that at any point in our lives. So I would say, yeah, anytime, whenever you're feeling that you need someone to just listen, I think that's a good time for mentorship. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, also thinking about obviously the need to share and to be there, I guess also it implies that you cannot share with everybody, right? So you have to find the right mentor that fits for you and build the right relationship. So in your own experience, what would be the best way to approach this process or this quest?
I feel like that's such a hard one. I feel like we all have a different way to connect with people. I don't know how mentees find me, but I think when they find me, we just connect so well. I think whatever you're doing great, because I feel like when we start talking, we connect just we have known each other forever. I feel like for me, when I'm looking for mentors, I look at what they have done in their life. Do we have something in similar? Do they have something that they can challenge me and inspire me? Have they any gaps that I don't have and I'm looking for? So I think it's really taking the time to go on the LinkedIn, I don't know, Instagram, I don't know, whatever that inspire you and gets you closer. I think that's just trust your gut in a way. When you go and sit out with them, you will know if it's not. And if it's not, that's okay. I feel like there's a lot of people that you can still reach out and find the perfect fit for you. But all my mentees, you've been doing so good. I feel like we have a great connection so far with my mentees. Yeah.
That's great. And yes, certainly. Yeah, there is quite a lot of serendipity or just the action of connecting. I think that's what you also make it special. Thanks a lot. And well, Carrie, do you or have a different point of view or a perspective on how to find or how mentees need to find you?
Absolutely. I think it depends on the situation. There's so many types of mentors, as mentioned. There's the technical mentors, there's even the personal mentors, and then there's like, how do I navigate all these icky situations? Or you just need a bit of validation mentors. For me, it's always started with just a conversation to see, hey, do our vibes match? And I know it sounds very like, what is a vibe type of question, but really you want to be with a mentor that can understand you, whether that's someone who's in your field or whether that's someone you align with in a certain trait or just in a mental belief. There's some like dispositions and personality traits where you might connect and resonate with more. But then there's also potentially the person's title or background or career journey that resonates with you. For me, it's those that have varied backgrounds. For others, it may be someone who's had success in a certain career and company because they want to be successful in that company as well. For me, my most recent mentor was, I guess, by chance. So we were working on the same project together. He was a senior designer, and at the time I was more of a junior and or intermediate. And we just had like I think 5 or 10 minutes after the meeting. So I was feeling pretty riled up after a meeting, and I was like, I need to talk to someone. So I just kind of asked him aside, and this was remote. So it was kind of easy to be like, wait, don't leave. I actually have a question for you. And then that kind of just started this like natural mentorship. And ever since I've had like different problems or issues that I'm facing, I just kind of ping him now and I'm like, hey, want to chat? And usually it goes really well. Like they usually have time for you. You'd be surprised who's super open and has all this knowledge to just share, but you don't know if they're as wanting to be in a formal platform like ADP list or just something organic like, hey, can I talk to you type of thing. So to sort of answer your question, like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Just like in a classroom, when you have to raise your hand because you have a question, just like poke someone, even literally. So, yeah.
Absolutely. And yes, I guess that there is I guess you also illustrate how you approach mentorship, right? Like it's just a simple part of asking questions, and you have different people that you're going to be asking questions. So there is not much science about it, more about how to start. Amazing. Thanks a lot. And well, Michelle, do you have a different point of view or anything that you would like to add?
I definitely agree with them, but I just want to bring something more, give some flavor here. Go for people that you admire. And you may admire them because they have engaged in a certain community. You may admire them because they received an award and oh my gosh, I want to be just like this person. Or maybe you admire because this person has years and years of experience. So go for whatever you admire. So there's no wrong path that you're going to take.
That's true. That's true. You will be surprised, right? Like that person replies, and you're like, you're like, okay, what do you do?
And now what I do? What should I do now?
Thanks a lot, and it's a really valid point, right? I guess if you have something that you admire, and maybe it's exactly the kind of thing that you would like to acquire, so that makes a lot of sense. All right, and well, also kind of like going along with the kind of like the concepts of mentorship, most likely will also lead to some misconceptions, you know. So what do you find that sometimes you need to fix or to provide a different point of view to make a mentorship work well?
Well, at least for me, I like to set expectations from day one. Like, this is what you can expect from me. I'll be really willing to deliver you that, and some of the things that I cannot. So if I have to say some common mistakes is more like people that thinks that the mentor is gonna be the one pushing your career. No, you are the one responsible for your career. The mentor is there to support you, to give you some feedback, uh, to give you some challenge sometimes. So it's not about only say, yes, you can do it, but what if we do it differently? So I think it's more like that. Each mentor may have a different way to see that. But for me, it's really about expectations. You are the responsible. I'm here to support you. I'm very proud of you, but you take the ownership and responsibility for your career.
Wow. Yep, absolutely. That's what the mentor should say. Yeah, that's fantastic. Thanks a lot. All right. Well, Juliet, would you mind?
Yeah, I will say, yeah, the same as Michelle. I feel my story as your story will be so unique, so you cannot replicate what I have done because we come from different paths. So it's important for them to acknowledge where they're coming from, where their strengths, where they are missing, and what they have to work on. And as Michelle said, I cannot do the job for you at the end of the day. I will give you as much as I can of what I have used in my past. If I can connect with someone else, I will do my best. But at the end of the day, everything will come from what you do for yourself. And and I think when you start sharing your own story and you let people know that happened and that is not easy, the struggles and how hard it is, and being honest, I feel like that's a good point, is that this is not easy, that it sounds like fancy, and that I just found a job, and it didn't happen like that. So for me, like, being honest and is everything in their hands, that I will do my best to provide as much information, but at the end of the day, is your own story that you have to work on for.
Your own story, absolutely. Carrie, yeah, anything you would like to add in the side of misconceptions or similar alignments?
Yeah, I mean, I love what Julia and Michelle has been saying. I think we're all on the same wavelength, but just to add on to that, I've had really good mentorship relationships where the mentees just have all these string of questions and they have the whole agenda. Like, I really let them take the wheel there. But then there is some where they just need to share something, and they're not sure how to navigate things. So just like when your friend comes to you for help, you actually don't have to be the problem solver. You can just sit back and just say, hey, what do you need the most? Do you need the sounding board? Do you need advice? Do you need me to help you make a decision? Well, actually, that shouldn't be the case, but sometimes they just need to hear an echo. Or maybe you just repeat what they say and they just need to hear it from someone else. It depends on the person. What I found works the best is really you have a relationship. It's not transactional. I think the ones that haven't worked as well is, hey, can you look at my UX portfolio? Or, hey, can you help me get a job? Or, hey, you have this successful career. How can I replicate this? I've actually had very, very awkward conversations where a person may appear like they're admiring you, but actually they're coming in a different place where they're like, oh, I wish I had everything you had. I was like, hold on, like, here's your life. Like, where's the appreciation of your life? There's amazing things that you may not be able to see. And also, everyone you see here, you may perceive them successful, but trust me, we've all gone through a lot of things that aren't successful, or things we don't always share online. So someone's success may actually not be your success. And as everyone mentioned here, it's really your story, and you have to own it, and you have to come with your own career path, because we can help support you, but we can't be there to drive it, because we're not you.
Absolutely. Wow, this is very well. There are many good things going on here. I guess. Do you mind if I ask you? From your side, what do you think makes a good session, or a session more productive? At least on the side of preparation, or once you're there, the best steps to take the most out of it. My water. Yeah, sorry, this is for you, Carrie. Yeah, I almost dropped my water in front of my computer.
Oh, no worries.
I was recovering from the shock. Yes, like, okay.
No.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. I go back to the question.
No, it's good. It's good. Something that helps in preparation, just like what Michelle said, is kind of have those expectations out front, whether that's just a small message before a meeting is set. I don't always have the time to look through all the details. So if you can give me a quick summary, and then that gives me a good frame of mind when we start the session, and then we can guide it in a specific way. I get a lot of people who are doing career transitions, just because I did a similar one as well. And it's been interesting to help them guide in that aspect. And I think there's a lot of commonalities in terms of, own your story, be confident, and all these amazing things that is hard to read up online. So it's good to make sure you just try to get a mentor in general to help you with these things, because we're always here rooting for you. So those are just a few of the things I had in mind.
That's fantastic. Okay. I'm taking a note on your story. I think this is a really good way to summarize quite a lot of the mentorship dynamics. Thanks a lot. Michelle, same question. What are the best way to prepare for a mentorship with you? Or once it's in the middle of one, what would be the best steps to have an efficient time together?
Yeah, I think like before the session, try to share with your mentor what you would like to have on that session. Either if it is about a technical side, or if you want to discuss your career, or maybe you just want to go there and blame someone else. That's okay. It's your time, but just set the expectation with your mentor, right? And once we start this session, I always ask them, like, ask for specific feedback. So if they ask for something very generic, it's pretty hard for me. Like, probably I'm gonna give a very generic feedback that will not help them at all. If they go more specific, so hey Michelle, I'm looking for feedback on this interaction or this piece of work, or is it this pixel perfect polished? And we can discuss 1 hour about that if they want to. So it's more about like be specific and set the expectation. Again, it's about expectation, right? Both sides.
All right, thank you much here. So next time you talk to Michelle, be specific, guys. Okay, let's narrow down to the most detailed aspects of what you want. Fantastic. And Juliet, yeah, what do you think? Do you have a different approach?
Yeah, I feel like when I start mentoring, I was really open and saying, if you go and book a time for me with me now, I have like 3 specific questions that I'd like people to kind of think in advance before talking to me. But at the same time, when we start talking, I usually ask them 2 questions, like, please tell me about you. What did you used to do before? What are you going into UX? And why? What are the expectations for us today? And I think while they start telling me things, I start asking questions back and forward. And can we start kind of discovering maybe the whole session changed at one point because of the questions that I'm asking. Again, I think a lot of people come to me because they're changing careers, they're immigrants, they're at the beginning of the career, and they feel like that closeness to me in that way. So I feel like I do ask questions. Mostly they just want to hear my story, what I did, give suggestions. So I feel like mine's a little more organic, depending of the questions that I ask back and forward. And I feel like has worked so far. I do have people that come back and it's like, hey, we talk about this. I did what you told me, and this is what happened. What do you suggest me to do next? So I feel like for me, like really organic conversation. Some people come like, Michelle, you said like 1, 2, 3, I want you to answer this. And totally okay, again, it's their time. But yeah, I think if you book a time with me, it will be real organic. You will be talking like we are having coffee or a drink and having like a really friend to friend kind of time. Yeah.
Amazing. Do you mind if I ask you what are your 3 questions or something nearby just to get people ready?
Totally.
So it's like, hey, they want to reach you. They know what they can say.
So I will ask you, what are your 3 values that you live your life by? For me, a really essential question to kind of keep you where you want it to be. And those are going to align if you're looking for a job or if you're looking for an organization. And then what are your strengths beyond designer? I'm really about creating your brand as a unique person. And the last one is like, do you want me to look at your portfolio, resume, or just write any questions that you want me to go through it?
Fantastic. And well, thank you so much. And in case you didn't read this is more to the audience, you didn't read the description of the event, Juliet's values are authenticity, empowerment, and passion. So, all right. I guess in case some of you match with those values.
Yeah, exactly. And I think for me, again, and I feel like if you hear my values, you will say, oh, I do live those by too. And I will say our values change depending on where we are living at the moment. For me, when I was starting my career, I think it was on the top, it was how I can grow through my career, but now it have changed a little bit. So it's okay if they change. Again, it's your life and you can change them anytime. Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. And well, just to share the same expectations and the same ideas. May I ask Carrie, out from the out of the blue, what are your top 3 main values? Just so we have a common understanding on all the panelists.
Sorry, the 3 main values,
Yeah,
like in life, or what type of value? Anything?
whatever you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I look for this in relationships, friendships, and mentorships, and also work. Authenticity is really important for me. So if you can't be yourself, it's really hard to feel energized. The second one, I think, is being really open and honest, to the point where it can be maybe too honest in some situations, but I think having that honesty is really helpful. It just so you know what you're getting yourself into. There's no expectations that can lead to disappointment just because it's not been said. So I'm kind of in the mindset of let's be open and honest. And the third part is really being curious. You're with yourself, with others, with just everything around you. So I know there's a lot of other good values, but I'll just highlight those ones.
No, absolutely. No, and certainly those are the kind of things that is just hard to pin, right? So thank you for sharing that, especially because it's a bit of a unscripted question, right? Michelle, would you like to share your values?
Yeah, I'm so glad that my values is just matching with others. So yeah, I think my number one thing is empathy. I think that brought me to UX. So that's my big value, and related to that, transparency at all. Like, it's okay to say no, but just say that, right? So for me, it's a big, big value, as well as being curious all the time. Ask the why, ask, give what if, give possibilities, be that person. So for me, I truly value that. My life, I would say, my career, but my life as well.
Fantastic. Wow, such an amazing people, really great values. I'm so glad nobody's asking those questions from that because I don't know yet. Fantastic. Well, okay. So in the sense of just going back a bit on the mentorship, on the relationships, would you consider um, it's proper to use a mentor as a reference, maybe in your resume or as a career, let's say some of the checks that normally that happens? Would that be okay? I don't know if we can ask you that, Michelle.
Yeah, I think depends. Like, you have many different ways to have mentorship. So if you feel that you have a close relationship with your mentor, why not? So just again, make that transparent. Ask your mentor if you can give them as your refer. I'm sure they're gonna be open for that. But again, it's more about you and your mentor establishing that kind of relationship, right? So if you do have a great relationship, I don't see any problem with that. For sure, you give as a reference and you say that this person is your mentor. So nobody's gonna call your mentor expecting to listen about how do you play with your team or how do you behave at your workplace. So again, aligning things, it's all good.
Hmm, fantastic. Thanks a lot. And well, Juliet, yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this for a while. I feel like, again, it has to do a lot of with the kind of relationship that you have with your mentee. Um, I will say that for me, it will take like quite a bit of sessions, and it will take quite a bit of time to see how you work and so many things. So for me, I think it will go more on that side, but yeah, definitely has to be a lot of like the relationship that we have together. And this make me think about, I do have a community that is called Cherry on Tech. We are a volunteer organization that we empower women and non-binary people to get into tech. And what we do, we have like tech squads, and we work in projects to build the skills for different different roles. And I will say that with the people that are working in this, we have like a kind of mentorship going on in the whole project. So we feel like it will be for me easier to do like a referral for the UX designers that work in the team, because I have seen how they work, and we have like a lot of one-on-ones during a month. So I can see their work. So I think for me it will require a little more of like see what you do and how, like a lot of things. So yeah, it depends a lot of the relationship that you have with them.
Absolutely. I'm going to share a link of CareerFoundry. Please let me know this is the correct one, because I just pull it out right from the get-go.
Yeah, that's me. That's CareerFoundry. Thank you. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, guys, another place where to find Juliet, and yeah, this is super interesting. I think it's the kind of communities that we always can support and get together. Thanks a lot. Carrie, all right. Reference, resumes, where are you at?
Yeah, for me, I think I'm in the same boat as Juliet. I feel like to give the best reference, or not just me, but any mentor or person, they should be able to work with you. I know there's other instances where there's like a personal reference or a personality reference. So maybe that could be more appropriate. But in terms of a work type of relationship, if I haven't worked with you, I wouldn't feel confident being able to refer something I don't know. So I think it's really important. Like I mentioned before, if you treat the relationship more transactionally, it'll maybe feel a little more superficial. So just something to keep in mind. And I don't know if it's just me, but I think with anyone too, I usually don't just approach someone to say, hey, I just want something from you. Hopefully you have other types of mentorships, but always happy to help supplement your work or anything like that as well.
That's really great. And I think that there is the personal relationship is also very important. And also for anybody that has the possibility to make a reference as a mentor or as part of a network or an introduction. At least I always feel like we need to live by the value that introduction provided. So you have to kind of like put your best forward. Otherwise, yeah, it could also hurt your mentor. That's a really, very important thing to consider. All right, well, this is the moment when we're going to open the call to our amazing participants. And I know Anya has really a good amount of questions. And please, Anya, this is a good time to chat.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so Nikhil had actually 2 questions, and if you are in the chat and if you're available to ask your questions, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Nikhil Shah?
Yeah. So I think
Hi.
the first, hello. I
You
think
had
the
2
first,
really cool questions.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. So I think the first question's already been answered. What things should a mentee consider when choosing a mentor? So I think that's been answered. If you want to add anything else, feel free to do so. But I'll jump to my second question, which was, do you use any frameworks or models with mentees to kind of guide and supplement their journey? So one of them, as an example, being the SMART techniques, so specific, measurable, etc. So were there any frameworks or models that you used?
I feel like for me, yes, I use the SMART a lot when we're talking I think, again, I think I'm going to go back to why people will come to me. So they're starting their career, they want to network, they want to meet people. So for me, it's a good way to start using a SMART, even if you are not into that point of you getting the interview, but just networking. because it's a good way to practice. I love free practices. So when you go and talk to people and you can start using the SMART method right when you are just meeting someone and explaining who you are, what you used to do before, and how you can use it in UX. Because for us, when we're changing careers, it's so hard to let people know these skills are so useful in UX day to day. So I think SMART is just such a good way and easy. And I feel like that is a combining to storytelling. I don't know if a framework will be practice, but I think that's the best thing that you can do. Again, just talking to anyone. I do use a lot of Lunch Club. It's just an easy tool to meet people outside of UX. Good way for you to start talking with such a variety of folks, so you can practice a lot. I would say practice. It's free, whatever you can get free for you to get ready for that interview. So when you get that dream job interview, so you feel 100% confident because you have practiced these questions so much already. Mm-hmm.
Any take from Michelle or Carrie?
Yeah, I just want to add, maybe it's not a framework, but something that usually helps me to choose the framework is like, I love, and I don't know who here had the opportunity, there's a workshop called 5 years from now, where you are able to plan or to get your mindset on what do you want to be. Maybe 5 is too much for today, but 1 year from now, what's are your plans for 1 year? And based on that reflections, at least the mentor can get a sense like this person is that kind 0 or 1. I'm not gonna go into many details and so on. So maybe SMART could be a good framework for this person. And maybe there's someone else who needs to go into the details of the whys and maybe needs more practice. So the framework is not exactly the most important thing, but it's about people, right? So if the mentor and as well the mentee can map and match with the mentor, that's the key thing. Then you can choose any framework to work on.
That's really awesome. I love those answers. I think for me, maybe I've been a bit less structured. I think it depends on, as all of you mentioned, kind of the personality of the mentee. If frameworks work for them, cool. If it's something like they're in a sticky, like personal situation, maybe using kind of the frameworks maybe more that you learn in therapy, where it's like, oh, what are techniques to make people feel heard and empathetic and reflecting things against their thoughts. Sometimes they might be spinning in burnout or in a really tricky situation. And I found a lot of great help from other mentors in terms of their techniques of just listing out some tools. Because for me, I feel like I resonate the most in terms of action-oriented mentalities, but others may resonate better with stories or things like that. So in terms of the frameworks, I think it's more, let's figure out what resonates the most. And that's also applicable to work, where it's like, oh, what resonates most with stakeholders? Is it data? Is it stories? Is it personality? Is it connections? Yeah, it really depends. But I think the SMART goal or framework is amazing. So great job identifying that.
Sorry, I was just going to add to something that Carrie was mentioning, and is going back to having the opportunity to talk to different people as a stakeholder. Sometimes you won't have the practice of having a stakeholder until you find a job. So if, again, that's what I mentioned, Launch Club, because you will have to talk to so many different people in different industries, that you have the chance to just what you Carrie said, to try to see what is the best way to talk to different people and how to start not guessing, but really by asking questions to the person what they would like to hear, if it's data, if it's the stories, examples, whatever it is. So I think, again, for me, it's practice, but just go and do it and you get better at it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your guys' answers. That was really great. Another question was for Murray. it's about examples of mentorships that have ended. If she's on the panel still, would you like to ask your question?
Sure.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah, no, I was just wondering, as a relationship moves through, like, I think Carrie, you mentioned like it's like a friendship thing, but at the same time, it's also a professional relationship in a way. So I just wondering when you recognize, hey, that should end. And I imagine somebody's on the mentee side, somebody's on the mentor side, but how do you bring that up? How has it gone well? How has it not gone well sometimes?
That's a really great question. I'll answer in terms of like, let's say it's a formal mentorship program where you sign up and there's a closed end date. You will talk probably formally with the mentor just to see like if it makes sense to continue, or you just stay connected and then reach out as need be. I had another mentor where we had a program and we were meant to meet up, and then just organically things came up and the issue I had on hand actually was resolved in different ways. But I personally have actually been in situations where I wasn't the best mentor. In university, I was a mentor and I actually didn't have enough time to help the mentee. So I realized I couldn't support them in their needs. So I reached out to them to make sure, like, did it make sense? How were they feeling? And making sure there was an alignment there and working with the program there. So I think that's why ADP list can be great, because it coordinates with your own schedule. But I think it's important just to be transparent on both sides. I think it's totally normal if things don't always work out, but it's another connection and you never know what may end up in the future, and you can reach out again and no hard feelings. Yeah.
Thanks. And
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I say to all the panelists, please. If if anyone else has, I'd love to hear it.
Well, I will say that I have people that I have met online, and then we realized that either they were outside of Vancouver and they came into Vancouver, so we have now go out and have like more one-on-ones, like grabbing coffee or whatever, or now that for example I'm going to be in Toronto sometime in August, so I'm going to have the space to meet one-on-one. Again, maybe I'm really friendly and love to grab coffees and drinks, but I feel like it has a lot of to do the professional side and see what are your boundaries and if your expectations are clear from the beginning, and again, that's a lot of depending of the relationship that you have with your mentor. I don't think that I will do this with everybody, but you have that feeling or the vibes, like Carrie, you were saying, with the mentor. So yeah.
Just to add to that, I usually compare mentorship with therapy. So at some level, you're gonna say goodbye to your mentor, and hey, that's okay. It's good. I feel proud of my mentees that said goodbye to me, and today they are mentoring other people. So it's about that, like no hard feelings. It's life. All good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for answering. There's also a question from Keisha, if she's still, or he, I'm sorry, if they're still in the chat. So the question was, are there any examples of well-known mentorships that demonstrate some of those ideas, like something we might have seen in media? I'm not sure if I understand.
Okay, this is really cheesy and for the nerds out there. I think the way Tony Stark mentored Spider-Man in Avengers was pretty nice. Like, he himself used to be this arrogant person, and then he progressed, and then he's really helping this young kid figure out his own way of superhero-ness. Yeah. So the first question he asked is like, why do you want to do this? Because he didn't even want to recruit him if he wasn't coming from a good place. And then and then it all worked out. And then obviously like there are decisions he made that weren't great, but yeah. So hopefully that helps.
I'm really bad at these kind of questions because I don't remember any reference, but I don't know. Sorry, I'm not good at this. But I was going to share something before I forget. I'm going to put a link. This is a totally different thing, but now that I have it, this is something that I use in Figma. If you are more like, you can use it if you are just studying design on any space or any time frame in your career. I do like it because I'm really visual, so you can see, you can just copy it and use it for yourself. So it's a wheel, and you can see where you are in the different pies of being a designer, and you can see where you want to grow and how to grow and have like different goals. I know this is a totally different thing, but I thought that I would share it. I love it, and it keeps me in line. Every 3 months or so I do it, and I see where I am in my career and where I want it to be.
So cool. Wow. Really amazing. Thanks a lot. Michelle, any famous mentors or anything that inspired you?
Oh my gosh. Is Karate Kid a thing? Yeah, maybe I'm too 40s.
Hey, I got the reference.
Sorry,
Okay,
you were
guys.
also there.
And there's the new show Karate Kid on Netflix, right? Cobra Kai. It's like the new kids, but it's based on the old movie. And the
Okay.
kids like played in that movie like years and years ago. Now as adults play in that Netflix Cobra Kai show. And they've been to Calgary for a hockey game the other day. The
You
actors
know,
from the Netflix show.
it's like mentorships. They're growing, and now they have a new
Yeah.
generation of mentors.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. Can put the Harry Potter and Dumbledore for the millennials.
Definitely. I usually bring lots of kids examples because I do have a daughter. So every movie that I go with her, I try to think that about in another perspective. So the most of my reference are related to kids movies. So sorry about that.
Okay. I also have a question for me. So as a recent graduate, I really struggle sometimes with imposter syndrome. So I would like to ask you, how do you usually approach that in like your mentees? You know.
I wouldn't say that's something that only juniors would face. I don't know if you all want to add more on that, but I have all the time to be talking to myself or looking for mentors in that topic, in special like being a immigrant, like English is not my first language. I do have a team, I have to report for directors, and I have to present to the C-level, and I may have some broken English in the middle of the thing. So all of these contribute for me to every day being, oh, am I good? Am I enough? So it's not about being a junior. So it's more about you to find like your strengths. So whenever you feel like that, like, hey, stop. I'm actually good on that, and no way that I'm gonna get away from that, right? So you kind of reinforce your strengths, and then this is gonna be better, but not because you're getting a senior person, but just because every day you exercise that.
Thank you. I get that a lot as an immigrant myself. With the English.
I think for me, what have worked so far is really taking the time to go through my thoughts and stopping and thinking, oh, is this Juliet talking? Or is this like someone else putting thoughts on my brain? So I think when you start thinking, okay, no, I do not believe in these. And that's why the values are so important, because I go back to my values and it's like, no, that's definitely not Juliet talking. I'm not this person. I'm far away from whatever brain the thoughts are happening. So I think if you start really pay attention to your thoughts and not let them convince you to something that you are not, for me has worked, and it takes a lot of time and being processed in the moment. But for me, so far has worked, and it's like, no, that's not Juliet. You are not that person. So yeah.
This is such a great question. I think all of us resonate with imposter syndrome. It's been interesting because I've had some other people, whenever I talk about imposter syndrome, their advice to me was they tell me about their story, which is fine, but sometimes that's not really the route I'm looking for. It's similar when you're facing a lot of anxieties, like try to separate yourself from the emotion, be a bit more objective, write down what you've done in the past to help you feel a bit more accomplished, to know like, hey, oh my gosh, you did come here from a lot of obstacles, or you did do a lot, like be proud in that. And it's really hard when you're facing yourself against the whole world. It's easy for us, even as accomplished as we are, to feel like imposters against other like entrepreneurs or super successful people. But keep in mind, some people start at a different stage. Like maybe when they were younger, they had generational wealth, or they didn't have to move cities or countries just to figure out things, or they didn't even have to do a career transition, and they just knew what they wanted to do, and they were able to specialize in that. Keep in mind, everyone comes from different places, and not everyone advertises how they came from it. For me, I used to let low confidence and lack of self-esteem just get in the way of my life, not just at work, but the way I present myself was not great. Like people wouldn't take me seriously, on top of looking young and being new in the company and looking different. Being in Montreal was a bit difficult because of that. But as I built more confidence in myself, and I knew, no matter what I was surrounded by in the environment I was in, I could hold my own. And if not, I would just take it away and talk to a friend and just get a bit of some advice there, just because sometimes I needed a bit of boost. And having a cheerleader on your side is really helpful, but also having someone who might give you a bit more objective truth of maybe certain ways of how you behave or perform may not be actually up to par, even to your own standards. But the most important thing is you have your own personal goals and just beat it. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't try to belittle others, and don't feel like you're less compared to others. I think it's really important to know if someone tells you you're less, that they're actually not the right environment or person for you. So managers have not always been the most supportive in my experience, and I'm sure you may hopefully not experience that. But if you end up in that situation, please know it's not you. It's never you. Just reassure yourself in that place, because not every environment is perfect.
Thank you. That was really sweet. Thank you so much. I see that also
like
Murray also has another. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I would like to add some notes on the imposter
Okay.
syndrome, and it's a bit gross, but works for me. Really, imposter syndrome, at least the way I understand it, is like a body odor. Please bear with me. Like if you go to the gym and you end up smelling the same way as you came out or came in, most likely you didn't push yourself enough. So if you are experiencing imposter syndrome, most likely means that you're stretching out your boundaries, you're building those muscles, you're kind of like exercising, and there is always a way to reset, right? Like just take a shower, or just take care of yourself. These are the kind of things that is going to happen, right? So it's not something that you can completely make disappear, but at the same time, if you know that this has a repercussion or has a collateral phenomena that you cannot control, maybe you need somebody that keeps your hand, right? It's not something that only you can carry. But that's my take on it. And back to the regular show.
That's really good. It's like taking something that is so stressful and negative and coin something very positive from it, which is all about growth. It's really good.
And yeah, may I add something? Because juniors may think that's, oh, it's not appropriate to say no, to talk to your manager and say, no, that's not real. It's not about me. What you're saying is not true. But I would really challenge everyone here to start thinking more about that. Like we sometimes we just accept what people says about us as truth, and it is not. So it's always, as you were mentioning, is about growth, like feeling comfortable to push back and say, hey, that's not true. That's about you and not about me. Because usually it's like the way that people react to you say much more about them than about yourself. So no matter if you're junior or no, push that. Don't let people cross the boundaries.
Never. If we can go to another question. Also, Maury had another question. It was quite a little long. If you would like to ask your question.
Sure. Yeah, I just wanted your thoughts on, is mentorship always one-on-one or not? And not necessarily like, hey, you're going to be a supervisor of a team or something, that's a different situation, but more maybe on a startup, there's a small startup to another startup or something like this, or other situations where maybe it's not one-on-one, or is it always? Like, your thoughts on that?
Well, I can talk more about, and I feel for me, that's what Cherry on Tech is doing for me as a personal project in a way, because it's so hard. I would love to hire 100 of hours during the day to help as many people as I can one-on-one. And I think that's what is so cool about different platforms, and one of them ADP is that is so many mentors that are willing to give their time, but at the same time for me is so limited in what you can do. So for me, for example, is like how I can break that and bring more help to more people. And that's what we have in my case, Cherry on Tech, is that we bring more designers, we bring developers and project managers, and we have these projects to help them to grow. So we are doing as much as we can, even though it's a small scale, but it's in a bigger scale as a person I can do. But I feel like that's, again, for my personal story, what I'm doing in my case.
I like to use workshop sessions when I have more people, so then everybody can stay together and also have some voice, like everybody in the room has a space to talk, and I always can scale up what I'm trying to mentor them. So try to keep more one-on-one sessions if I have to go into more details, more personal things. But if it is something that's scalable and more technical, workshop sessions work very well, at least for me.
Yeah, those are amazing points. I think having a community is so important. So in the technical skill, for sure, you're like, is this what I'm doing right? Can you help me with this shortcut? What is this tip? One-on-ones will give you a bit more personable information. Even in these group sessions, like we're just touching the surface level of all these things. But I think I saw earlier in the chat, like some folks were just talking about where they're transitioning from. Like, if you can't find a group, just create one. Just ask someone on LinkedIn or just start a study group or something. Hey, we're career transitioners. How do you do this? I have some friends and we chat about like salary and what's happening in the industry and what should we do and all these things to know what we're worth and to fight for what's important to everyone, which is to have equity and have the same piece of pie that we're all should be allowed to do.
Luis, you know what I was thinking too, and I think that's something that you mentioned as to having like these events, and like, I mean, I do have a podcast and I have a YouTube channel. So for me, that's a way to just like, okay, I cannot reach one-on-ones that much, but I'm sharing my story and other people's stories through podcasts. And again, my YouTube channel is in Spanish. So you want to learn some Spanish, you can do it through my YouTube channel and UX. But it's like sometimes we limit ourselves as one-on-one. What can you do that you are personally really passionate and something that you want to grow and get better? And for me, again, as an immigrant and as maybe I want to grow into my career, I want to get better at talking. So how I can do it? I'm not the best at podcasts and YouTube channels, but that's okay. You get practice and you get better. So if you have something that you said, okay, I can do it and I can share my story, why don't you do it? I think it's that simple. Do not wait and it's like, oh, I have to have this something special to be a mentor or to share my story. Again, your story is so unique and it's going to impact someone else that maybe you are not going to see, or maybe they're never going to tell you, or at one point they're going to come to you and say, hey, thank you so much for being vulnerable to come out and telling me where you're going through. So I think everybody here could be a mentor in a way or another. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. If I can, I'd just like to follow up on that, actually, some thoughts that came to mind, if that's okay, Ali. If we're actually looking at, like, if someone is actually looking at setting up a mentorship program, should we leverage one that's already existing out there, or should we look at, or do you have suggestions on, like, if an organization like Calgary UX is setting up like a mentorship program, what are some points that should be that can help mentors and mentees in being successful in that, in like within Calgary, for example?
I was thinking this kind of bring me to mind again to Cherry on Tech, which is more like US and Canada, but there is a really another organization in Switzerland that is called Bella, and they have kind of the same idea. They are two Brazilian women. They're engineers, they're immigrants, and they do mentorships one-on-one. And then we start talking because we have our organizations have the same idea, and they're like, you know, we don't have a platform like you doing, like building projects, but they have the one-on-one mentorship. So it's like, how can you connect with another communities? And again, for example, for Luis and Calgary UX, ADP list, and how you can connect with other communities that they are doing already the same, and you can empower each other because you are kind of filling up the gaps that the others don't have.
Yeah, that's really awesome. I'll probably lean to Luis for this, for Calgary UX, but I've attended and also like participated in a lot of different programs. And I think it falls back on what does the organization do and how closely do you resonate with that, because then you'll find those people as well. So whether that's in the city or in the mentality like Calgary UX's or ADP list, like they're all very similar, but each has its own uniqueness. What resonates the most with you? And maybe they're going through certain like program objectives that might help you, because generic, like let's connect with someone, may be very hard if you're going through certain issues that you can pinpoint. But maybe that's something you need, a generic relationship, because you don't know what you need. So that's okay too. There's no wrong answers, but make sure you don't burn yourself out because there's so many organizations out there. But I think the ones that were listed and that Juliet's part of are really, really cool. So I have to take a look as well.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So Juliet mentioned that she has her YouTube and podcast, and my next question was kind of connecting to that. I wanted to ask everyone about their favorite, besides Juliet's podcast and YouTube, of course, other resources, favorite books or favorite podcasts, and or like articles, writers.
I would go, if I had to choose, I like the way that Norman Grope writes about UX. I know it's pretty old book, but I think they are getting better now. They have a podcast, they are getting more new content there. But the way that they treat and they talk about UX, you can apply like for healthcare scenario in a very regulated market as well as you can learn as a junior. So I think that the content there is pretty accessible and high quality.
Yeah, there's a lot in that space. I think content creators like Juliet would be really cool. I think they have a lot of unique perspective. I haven't listened to hers, but I just hearing from her talk right now, I'm like, oh, I'm sure she'll be amazing. I go to uxdesign.cc for articles. When I first started out in UX, that was one of the ones I looked into. InVision, although their product is might not be as advanced as Figma's community, their podcast Design Better is actually really, really astounding. They feature a lot of great product and design folks. So they have a good community in that sense. Twitter seems to be a really good space, or LinkedIn. People just share and a lot of other people comment on things. I think it depends what type of things you're looking for. Surprisingly, I learn a lot of like UI stuff and graphic stuff from Instagrammers, which is kind of cool. And then I think some other like known leaders I just follow on LinkedIn. So Julie Zhou, she's amazing. She was VP design of Meta, and now is a founder of her own company. I think you'll find different amazing like leaders around. Sorry, I just can't think of a lot at the top of my head, but I think Brene Brown is also amazing. She's really good in terms of being vulnerable and having that space. So it's not just a technical skill, but it's also like your leadership skills and how do you fit in this world, and how do you find the work that aligns with your purpose and all those great things. So yeah.
Thank you.
I have such a bad memory, but I love Brene Brown. I think, thank you for mentioning it, because for me, that's such a big part of just your life and your day to day, if you can kind of start lining up where you want it to be. So I think starting at that point, that would lead to a successful career, a successful life, enjoying your day to day, being grateful. I don't know, all these things, but yeah, I'm really bad at knowing names and things like that.
That's okay. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask the chat if anyone else has any other questions. I don't know. I think.
Well, thank you so much. And well, I can imagine that later on there are going to be some follow-up questions, you know, the classic thing, 3 a.m. in the morning. It's like, oh, I wish I had asked them a bit more about X, Y, and Z. But I guess the question about the question is, what would be the best way to find you? And yeah, let's say in the same way or same fashion, yeah, what would you like them to tell you once you're reaching out? Michelle, would you like to tell us where to find you?
Okay, I can start. So LinkedIn for me is always the best way. So if you wanna talk, just go there, message me, add me, and that's gonna be easy.
Fantastic. And well, Carrie, yeah, where we can get some more information from you or reach out to you.
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn, Carrie Ma, and I am also an ADP list. Yeah, just connect me wherever.
Amazing. I need to find your ADP list profile, but if I cannot get it so fast, please guys, they have a really good search function going out there. Juliet, wow.
Yes. Yeah, if you want to do a one-on-one, I think ADP list is just the easier way, because I just have one calendar. But as I promote myself already, YouTube channel, Julieth Fajardo Again, you need to know a little bit of Spanish for that. UX Untamed is my podcast, and we do it in LinkedIn, on YouTube, Twitch. And then if you want to know more about Cherry on Tech, I think we at least already share all of that. But yeah, I would love to meet all of you. Yeah, you can always find me in LinkedIn, but for one-on-ones, definitely is ADP List. And everybody, thank you for staying until this time. That's amazing. Yeah.